Hello. Yes, I hope you can see my screen. I'm currently on a page and fill up deposit with 200%. So if you can see my screen, that's okay. So we begin immediately. Today is the first day of the week. We're on the 18th of February 2019. So we'll start first by looking at what we looked at last week to see how it went, and then we see if there's any correction we need to make. Then we see what we have for this week, and we'll start off with the very first pair. The main ones first. We'll start with the Euro USD. Euro USD is here. So you should be able to see my screen now. You should be able to see my screen. I'm currently at the MT4, and then just below my page this a bit of some advertisement. If you can see that, then it means you are seeing my screen clearly. So let's start off with Euro USD. We'll start from the weekly point of view, and then we'll scale down to the other time frame, maybe up to 1 hour, to see if there's any good trade for this week, for today that is. Euro USD, we are on the weekly chart. So just look at this chart. We mentioned last week that this was a clear level, 1.1293. We said that unless the price closes clearly below it, this should be a very good place to buy from. And we also mentioned that on the upper side you have a level which is 1.1469. We said as long as the price does not break either above or below 1.1293, then this should be the correct place to buy from. So last week price actually attempted to close below, to break below, but then it failed to sustain this place. So what this candle means is that we are possibly headed upwards towards this level, towards that resistance. We expect a move like this after sometimes maybe some consolidation within this range. We expect something like this. Anytime the price rises towards the upper line but does not break above it, then there's a sell place. And anytime the price retraces back to the lower line but does not break below it, then that's a buy place. Something like this. Anytime the price rises up to this resistance but it does not close above it, then that should be a place to sell from. And anytime the price heads down but it does not close below 1.1293, then that should be the correct place to buy from. It again rises up but does not break above it, which means that the correct place to sell from. So as it is at the moment from the last week's candle, this should be a sign that we are heading upwards. So the reason I'm saying upwards is this. Look at it from this point. We had a resistance which was broken, a support, a support, a support, a support, and the same place is still a support even as you speak. So you want to trade this pair now, look for a possible buy place. Expect this week, we expect price to rise up to 1.1469, and assuming it does not break above it, then we look for a sell, and if it breaks above it, then we'll expect it to rise even higher. Assuming something like this happens, that the price goes and closes beyond 1.1469, then we'll wait for just a retracement before we pick a buy towards the trend line which we marked last week. So this should be the correct place. If you want to buy it, ensure that you wait for this break above, a retracement, and then it should continue up. The reason I'm having these lines like this is not because it has to move like this. Sometimes the price may head up just in the course of this week and close above 1.1469. If that is true, then we expect to see it even higher. And in case it consolidates, that is still okay. We'll wait for clear close above to pick a buy, or a clear close below so that we can pick a sell. So far we're in a downtrend, which means a break below 1.1293 will be the best place to sell. A sell is much better than a buy, and if you have to sell other than a break below 1.1293, the next best place to sell from is this. You should sell from this point. These are the two places. Either sell here or wait for price to break below this level and close below so that you can pick a sell towards 1.0493. We'll move to the next chart, which is GBP USD. And I hope I remember there's a time we did a webinar on pin bars. Last week the candle opened here. It opened somewhere here, sorry. Then went slightly up and then went as low as this, but ended up closing somewhere here. So we expect price to still come back up to this support. That was last week. We expected price to come back to this place, but it didn't come back. So far, this candle is assigned for buying. This candle means that there's a possible exhaustion, that price is likely not coming back to this place. It may head upwards. You want to trade this pair, wait for a retracement, maybe up to somewhere here, the previous week's lowest low. Wait for retracement up to this point, pick a buy from that point. You should have your stop loss here. So if you want to trade correctly, assuming you want to buy this, you want to buy the cable at the moment, wait for a buy here, have your stop loss below the lowest low, and your take profit should be at the very top, which is this 1.4207. So the other reason I'm saying this a buy is not just because last week there was a pin bar, but because on the monthly chart, last month's candle, we actually expect price to move higher. So the best place to buy it is around this point. Have your pending buy limit, have your stop loss, and then a take profit should be at the very top. And I'm going to add an indicator to confirm that the trend is upwards. We'll use the first indicator, which is ADX. According to this indicator, there is no clear trend, but the sellers appears to be taking control. So we want the opposite to be true so that we can buy it towards 1.4207. We'll move to the next chart, USD JPY there, and I'm still having my lines just the same way I had them previously. We are not shifting anything. If you can remember, I mentioned last week that we took a buy from this point, price went up as we said, then there was a level at this point which price is here to close above 110.89. So we basically want price to clearly ascend above that line. Let price rise above it, and in case it retraces back, then we are going to pick a buy up to the very top, 114.32, which is here. So if you didn't buy it previously while we are suggesting a buy, well, when we recommended buy the first time, you can still wait and buy at this point. Expect price to rise up to 114.32. So that's according to the weekly chart. Let's see if there's a good setup on the 4-hour chart or maybe lesser time frame. I'm going to clear up my chart. Looks a bit messy. On this chart, there's a level here. This is just a very good support, a very good support, a very good support, which was broken, and price is here to come back to that support, to that level. So what we want to happen now is for price to continue upwards. It should rise up to this resistance, maybe bounce from that point and then head downwards or break above so that we can continue to the upside. So far, if the weekly chart is showing us a buy, the way we've seen that this is a buy, then it means that we want price to rise above that daily level here. Should try retracing back to the same place so that we can pick a buy at the least risk possible. In just a second, I want to make that line to be big like that. So we want price to break up beyond that line, 111.81, then retrace back, and that's why we are going to pick a buy. We want to pick a buy from that point, expecting price to rise up to the very top, which is here. This is the greatest resistance we have seen so far. So in case the price does whatever we said here, that price goes up, retrace back, then we are going to look for a buy from that point, expecting price to go up to 114.50, which is at the very top. That's according to the daily 4 hours. On the 4-hour chart, there's only a level here. The only level I'm seeing is this. This is just a resistance which was broken, and price is yet to come back to it. So on the 4-hour chart, we actually expect a retracement. Price should continue retracing even lower. We expect price to retrace up to that level before it heads upwards, something like this. So if you are looking at the forward chart, then the best place to buy from is 110.04. You should have your take profit at 111, 111.85. That's the first take profit. Then the next one should be at the very top, just as we said, 114.50. So that should be it for USDJPY. We move now to the next chart, and that is SP500. I'm going to load this chart afresh because the way it looks now, it may not be good. Let's start from the weekly point of view. So this is the weekly chart, and I'm going to add an indicator straight away. We have ADX. So according to this indicator, the very first indicator which I've added on this separate window here, you can see that there's a trend from the main line which is above 25, and then you also have the dotted line above the red one, which means we have a trend, and that trend is upward. So as you can see from the past, we've seen price go up, then retrace back, go up, retrace back, goes up, retrace back, goes up, then there's a retracement. So far we are still upwards on this index. We are still upwards, and the best place to trade from is this. This is the best support, where if you want to buy it from, then this should be the correct place to wait for. This is just a support. We have just a support, a support, a support, a support. Then there's a false break below it. Somebody's asking me why I'm not considering this as a downtrend. This is a false break because from the past the trend has been upwards. We've been heading upwards all along. So the move which we saw here was just a false break, which means should price come back to it, then that should be the correct place to buy from. You actually are supposed to be waiting for a buy around here. So far the price has been upwards. It has been going up. Just as you said, from this inside pin bar, the price has been upwards, and we want it to retrace back up to this level so that we can pick a buy at the least risk possible. So there are levels here which you want to look at. There's a level at the very top, and then you also have a level on the lower side. You want price to retrace back down, bounce from this point. We'll pick a buy with our first take profit here, and the next one should be the next level, which is going to be determined in the future. Something like this. This is what we want to happen. Price to retrace, break above, retrace back. We'll pick a buy from that point, expecting price to proceed even higher. That is what we want to happen. So that's according to the weekly. Although there's still move, we still expect it to move up. A retracement back to this level is highly likely. If this can happen, then this is going to be the correct place to buy from. But assuming you bought already, as you said, then just leave that position open. On the daily chart, let me make my chart look better. On the daily chart, we still have the same level, but there's a resistance here which has to be broken clearly. So this is a resistance there. We also have a resistance there. Then we have a resistance there. What we want to happen now is for price to proceed upwards. It should go up to that resistance. The same place we are selling previously should proceed like that before it bounces back to the lower side, and then we are supposed to buy from this point here. So far this is the place we are selling from. We are selling. If price gets back to the same place, we are still going to look for a sell, and in case the price breaks above it in the future, something like this, assuming you wake up in the morning one day and then you find that price is above 2813.0, then simply wait for a retracement before you pick a buy towards 2931.6, something like this. So this is a very clear one. Just if you bought it, like as you mentioned previously, then you're supposed to be in money at the moment. Just expect price to proceed upwards towards this resistance. you should break above, retrace back before you pick a buy upward. So I'm not going to add an indicator because we already added an indicator on the weekly and the trend so far is upwards. So just remain up, buy from this point, and then again also buy from that point. Move to the next chart, gold. So gold is doing well, as we mentioned previously. We have our indicator here, ADX. This indicator is still showing us a buy. We are still, the overall trend in this case is still upwards. We have the main one above 25, then the green one is above the red one. So the overall trend is upwards. We are actively upwards. Then the next most important thing is that for the past 2 weeks, which was this and also last week, there were actually two pin bars. All of them were closing above the other. Like last week one closed above the previous close, and then this one closed above. So this is upwards. This is a formation for upwards. Pin bar. We have two pin bars that are following each other. This is a very good formation for upwards, and it should push price up like this. We expect price to head up to the very top, and this is a weekly resistance. It's also a monthly resistance. So if price can get back up to it, then this should be the correct place to sell from. As it is now, we are looking for a buy. Basically, you should wait for a retracement up to that level. Expect price to retrace up to that point. Have your stop loss here, and then your take profit should be in between this zone. So we took a buy previously somewhere here. If you didn't buy it, still wait for price to retrace back up to this point. Pick a buy, expecting price to go up to 1350.93. So that should take us to the next chart. Sorry, we are going to look at this from the daily to see if there's any good trade for today. A gold here. Move to the daily chart. So on the daily chart, we have just one level, which was this. So far, price was able to come back to it, but was not able to close below it. We have that. Just a resistance, there's a break above, a support. We did take a buy from this point last week. We expect price to go up to the resistance, which we just said on the weekly chart. We want price to proceed up to the very top, 1353.88. So assuming you're on this chart and want to trade it, wait for price to clearly ascend above this level. Wait for a close above 1322.44. That should be something like this. The price should close above. Just a second. Then try retracing back to the same level before we see a move higher. Something like that. So if you didn't buy it here, based on what we said last week, you can still wait and buy a break above this point. So far the indicator we added on the weekly chart is giving us a buy, and therefore even here we want price just to proceed up, retrace back so that we can pick a buy. We don't recommend selling from this resistance. It's a very good resistance, but since weekly is a buy, wait for it to be broken, then a retracement before you pick a buy upwards. We move to the next chart, Brent oil, and this is how it looks. So far from the monthly chart, we have a resistance here where I want price to come up to a resistance, then a resistance, and then a resistance, and then we expect the same place to be a resistance in the future. So far this place has been used since 2008. This price has not been able to clearly rise above it. In case the current month can, or maybe in the near future, if price can get back to this trend line, then this will be the correct place to look for a sell. We basically want price to come back to this resistance, bounce from it, and we'll pick a sell from that point up to 43.98, which is here. So according to this indicator, the one we are having, ADX, we are still upwards. This is the main line above 25, and then you have the dotted line, green one above the dotted red one, which means they have a trend, and that trend is upward. So we expect price to proceed up to the very top, bounce from this level so that you can pick a sell. If you're looking at the monthly chart, if you're a monthly trader, then wait for price here. We go to the weekly. Just a second, I load it afresh from the weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, those are very, after this pin bar, the one we saw after this, there's an inside bar, we have a pin bar, an inside bar, then there's an engulfing candle upwards. So this candle should push price up to this resistance, and in case the price clearly close above that resistance, above 71.86 to 70.23, then you'll expect it to go up to the very top, which is here. So that means there's a chance that we could find a double top here, something like this. That's what we expect in the long run, that price should proceed up, break above this zone, retrace just slightly, then we're going to pick a buy up to the very top. So these are the places to trade from. You either buy there, if you're not already in a buy trade, you can maybe wait for a retracement slightly lower, then you pick a buy. So if this commodity is to retrace, then it's only going to retrace up to this level, 62.81, and this is the correct place to buy from. Wait for a retracement up to this level, pick a buy, your first take profit, and then the last one should be here. Then assuming you buy it here, then your stop will be here at 59.07. Wait for a retracement, pending buy limit, stop loss, your first take profit, and then the last one should be here. So so far we looked at all the symbols we wanted to look at. We've looked at EUR/USD, where we are seeing a possible buy on the weekly chart. We've also looked at USD/JPY, where we are looking at a continuation upwards. Then GBP/USD, we are looking at a move upwards. SP500, we are also buying. Gold, we are also looking for a buy, and Brent oil, we are also looking for a buy. So as you can see, majority of these pairs are actually looking for a buy. So that should bring us to the end of today's overview. And there's one thing which I'm going to mention before we end, and that is this bonus, fill up deposit bonus with 200%. So if you're looking at my screen now, you can see that this bonus is still active. It's active up to the end of this month. You have like 10 days to go. It ends on 28th of February 2019. So I don't have a special link for this. Just go to the main site, and then under the menu option we have bonuses. There's the bonuses, then the very first bonus at the top is a deposit bonus 200%. That is where you need to get the bonus from. So thank you very much. See you again tomorrow at the same time.